Our firm, RHS Advisors, has been hired by an organization to help increase sales among low-usage customers and maintain sales among high-usage customers. In order to do so, we would like to define what ride-sharing is, how consumers benefit from this service, and review the market and potential growth areas. As a strategic advisor in this space for multiple years, RHS Advisors aims to assist clients in increasing sales among low users by highlighting growth areas in untapped territory and enhancing existing performing strategies and initiatives to target low users. As we work through this proposal and into recommendations, please keep in mind we will be highlighting numerous worldwide statistics while taking a more focused approach with U.S. data. To start, it is important that we define the ride-sharing service. Ride-sharing is an arrangement in which a passenger travels in a private vehicle driven by its owner for a fee or for free, arranged by means of a website or mobile app. In this service, we can include carpooling and taxis, which have been well established for a long period of time. The modern-day ride-sharing service is quite simple and does not involve a lot of room for error due to technological advancements with smartphones and the web. Users of this service utilize an app to drop a pin onto their current location where they would like to be picked up, or use a service to carpool with nearby users. Following this, the registered drivers in the area receive a notification that someone is requesting a ride. This is done through a smartphone app or a given website utilizing that specific location the user has highlighted. Through the app or website, the driver then accepts the ride and uses an integrated GPS service to drive to where the customer has dropped the pin. Once the driver arrives, the customer is taken to their desired destination and dropped off. Due to the technological advancements and payments via the app, there is no required cash payment or credit card swipe. The user and driver can review the cost of the ride before committing to the trip. Once they commit to the trip, the transaction is done automatically for the specified amount in the app utilizing credit card information or bank account information that has been inputted by the user. For a rider, arrival at the destination and upon exiting the vehicle ends the ride-sharing trip. The fare is automatically calculated and charged to the payment method linked to the ride-sharing account. The driver receives payment through the app with a set percentage of the fare going to the ride-sharing agency. The remaining fare is sent via direct deposit to the driver's bank account, typically on a weekly basis. Next, it is important that we take a brief look at the ride-sharing industry and how it has progressed since the introduction of organizations like Uber and Lyft. The ride-sharing industry covers online platforms and apps that bring together passengers and drivers. Ride-sharing services matches the passengers with drivers based off availability and time. The service then charges a commission per ride for the service. The commission is withdrawn from the driver's total fare. Booking and purchasing for ride-sharing service is exclusively conducted through a personal computer or by mobile device. The ride-sharing industry includes transportation network companies that offer rides in private vehicles. Uber and Lyft are the most popular in the U.S. and have seen massive success in recent years with advancements in their app and increased offerings for consumers. The ride-sharing industry also includes taxi companies who allow users to book rides through an app. For example, My Taxi allows you to utilize a computer or mobile device to book a taxi. Please note that the ride-sharing industry does not include car rental services such as Hertz National. It also excludes private car sharing rentals such as Turo and Zipcar. There are a few distinct major players in the ride-sharing industry today. The industry is dominated by a few key players that came into the market at the right time, expanded quickly to enhance their market presence, and have continued to innovate to create new offerings and services. In the U.S., Uber and Lyft are the top ride-sharing services and have secured loyalty from most high users of ride-sharing. Competition worldwide includes services from Grab in Southeast Asia and Didi in 400 Chinese cities, Hong Kong, Brazil, Japan, Mexico, Australia, and Taiwan. When reviewing the current market share, specifically in the U.S., Uber and Lyft are dominating the competition. Uber currently claims around 69% of market share. Lyft currently claims around 29% of market share. The smaller ride-sharing services and taxis claim the rest of the market. Now, as we look at Uber specifically versus the competition, it is important to note their success and where they have outperformed other ride-sharing services. In New York, Uber became the most popular form of private hire transport in terms of rides per day in September 2017. The ride-sharing industry has seen immense revenue and usage growth over the recent years. In 2018, worldwide revenue for the industry amounts to $62,168 million, with average revenue per user totaling $137.67. Global user penetration is 8.8%. Based on revenue, China is the global ride-sharing leader, amounting $28,176 million in 2018, followed by the United States, Indonesia, United Kingdom, and Germany to round out the top 5 countries in the industry. The industry is projected to have a 15% annual growth rate between 2018 and 2023. The projected worldwide market volume by 2023 is expected to amount to $124,987 million, an expected 200% increase from 2018 revenues. The U.S. ride-sharing market currently ranks number 2 in the industry with revenues of $15,612 million in 2018. Average revenue per user is much higher than global averages, totaling $137.67 per user. User penetration is also higher at 15.1%. The U.S. is projected to have just 11% annual growth rate between 2018 to 2023, 4% below the global projections. The projected U.S. market volume by 2023 is expected to amount to $26,315 million, and user penetration growth up to 18.1%. So as we look at the ride-sharing users, it is important to define what a low-usage user is. According to the Pew Research Data Center, 56% of users utilize ride-sharing less than 1 time per month. RHS Advisors has defined a low-usage user as someone who has never heard of ride-sharing, does not utilize any ride-sharing services, or uses a service less than 1 time a month. Looking at America specifically, a few important statistics to note are 15% of American adults have used ride-hailing. 51% of all Americans are familiar with but have not used these services. 33% of all Americans have heard before of these services. 26% of users utilize on a monthly basis. 56% of users utilize ride-sharing less often than that. 3% of all American adults use ride-hailing on the regular, for example, daily or weekly basis. 12% use these services once a month or less often. As you can see, while ride-sharing has been extremely influential in a booming market in recent years, there is massive room for growth among low-usage users. If we can drive additional sales with low-usage users through gaining users and increasing use among current users, revenue can increase significantly. A few minor changes to our business model and offerings can enhance this performance and drive growth in a market that is still very much untapped. Increasing low-usage user sales is important, but it is also important to retain current customers and their loyalty to ride-sharing. A high-usage user is defined as the user of ride-sharing who utilizes ride-sharing on a monthly basis. Based on previous slides, people who use ride-sharing are loyal to select organizations. Those who are loyal tend to utilize the service more. Where ride-sharing has been successful is with young adults. Additionally, affluent people and those located in urban areas utilize the service more due to convenience and the ease of use versus driving. A few key points to note from the Pew Research Center are: frequent ride-hailing users are less likely to own a car. High-usage users are more likely to use a wide range of personal transportation options that go beyond ride-sharing. High rates of usage with young adults in urban areas. 7% of all 18 to 29-year-old use on a weekly basis in urban areas. Increased usage among affluent individuals. 26% of Americans with income above $75,000 use these services. As you can see, affluence and location of the users have a high impact on usage. If we can maintain those high users through increased offerings, consistency, and making our service more available at a faster rate, there will be little to no drop in high usage user sales. Additionally, transitioning some of low usage users to high usage users through advancements in our sales offerings can increase retention and year-over-year revenue. As part of our research, we conducted 8 in-depth interviews. We asked all 8 people the same questions, focusing on the consumer decision-making process to develop an understanding of the ride-sharing industry. Questions included background information on the participants, their degree of usage, and the function ride-sharing services has in their lives, their consideration of alternative options, and how they research these alternatives, and what they would recommend to improve the ride-sharing industry. Participants ranged in age from 23 to 45 and included both students and working professionals from various cities around the country. Here's a sample of what our participants had to say.
I'm 31 and I live in Old Bridge, New Jersey. I'm both a user and a business traveler. I do use ride sharing, and I use both Lyft or Uber. I know there's other options, but those are the 2 primary options. We're not loyal to either one of them. Whatever got the cheapest price and it's going to get me where I gotta go the fastest is what I'm going to use. Don't really do any research on it. It's basically the word of mouth and the branding or marketing that they do. The one thing I would change is sometimes these drivers are a little impatient when it comes to picking up the rider. So, I've recently experienced where a rider pulled up, drove 10 minutes to get to my location, pulled up to my location for 30 seconds and just drove off.
My name is John. I'm 28. If I'm out drinking, if I know I'm gonna drink that night, and I use it, say like 3 times a month. More word of mouth, branding, see it on TV, commercials. So it's more the way it's branded. I don't use it that often.
My name is Allie Messenger. I'm 24 years old. I live in Annapolis, Maryland, and I'm a college coach. Usually when I'm traveling for recruiting, I use it to get to places. I consider all outlets. I think the biggest thing is convenience and availability. The taxi is right there. I'll probably take the taxi, or if the train is cheaper and more convenient, then I'll use that. I'm uncomfortable with going into cars of people I don't necessarily know. I think just making it more accessible and more available to people who are looking, whether that's through their mobile app or online, just giving an opportunity for people to really understand who they're getting in the car with.
Hi, my name is Andy Ayers. I'm 25 years old. I live in Murray Hill on the east side of Manhattan. I do tend to use ride-sharing services quite a bit, potentially too much since moving to the city. And in particular, I use Uber. I find myself using Uber almost every day at this point. In the mornings, I'm almost always ordering an Uber pool to get to work. I could walk 15 or 20 minutes to the subway and then ride that, which is going to be disgusting and hot and dirty. Or I can have the comfort and convenience of a car coming within a block or even to my door for only marginally more money. I'm a pretty loyal Uber customer, and I'm not even necessarily sure why. It's kind of like the Apple of ride-sharing services to me, where I just default to it. But there are a few instances where I'll look at Lyft, which is the only other ride-sharing service I have on my phone, and those are if Uber's surge pricing is absolutely outrageous. So through just word of mouth and my friends also using Uber as their primary ride-sharing service, I haven't really felt compelled to really investigate and see if I should switch over to another one. I find that the drivers have a lot of power to cancel on you and get you charged $5, but if you cancel on them for something that they're doing wrong, you'll still get charged $5. You can dispute that via the app, but again, that doesn't always get accepted by the app, and you can't really reach out through another avenue to customer service to express a complaint that you had.
The majority of our participants preferred Uber, but some considered other ride-sharing services, primarily Lyft, based on pricing, availability, and wait time. In terms of need recognition, those who were high-usage customers typically used ride-sharing for regular work travel, while low-usage customers were more likely to use it for recreational purposes. In aggregate, alternative options to ride-sharing included rides from family or friends, taxis, car rentals, buses, trains, and bike share programs such as City Bike in New York City. When choosing between alternative ride-sharing services, the participants researched by checking their apps to compare prices and wait times, and also researched promotion codes online. High-usage customers recommended that ride-sharing services add features to make it easier to submit information to their workplaces for expensing. Both low-usage and high-usage customers recommended a rewards program to increase loyalty and to incentivize customers monetarily. After analyzing customer reviews in Consumer Affairs database, we found some key highlights for each step of the customer decision-making process. Reviews note that consumer need recognition typically spawn from a need to get to work, get to the airport, get home after a night out, and limited to no parking at their destination. Research shows that in the information search phase, consumers weigh the convenience, safety, price, availability, and reliability of ride-sharing services, traditional taxis, public transportation like trains, buses, carpooling, and using other personal vehicles. After reviewing these options, consumers move to evaluate these alternatives. As consumers evaluate the alternatives previously listed, analysis shows that they typically evaluate based on convenience, safety, pricing, availability, and reliability in that order. Consumers also evaluate the type of vehicle they will need, for instance, whether it is for 1 to 2 riders, an SUV, a multi-passenger vehicle, carpool options, or black car service. Based on these reviews, during the purchase step of the process, most consumers select services they have used in the past and had good experiences with. Consumers typically have a few options for booking travel, including mobile app, calling a service, hailing a taxi, or booking online, in which mobile apps were found to be the most used. The ease of purchase is an important feature according to reviews. Uber and Lyft are clearly the preferred services. Finally, after analyzing industry reviews, the majority of customer purchase feedback can be considered negative. This information can be somewhat biased, as users with positive experiences may not feel the need to post formal reviews. For the most part, consumers share ride-sharing experiences that they were unhappy with. Most issues were based on wait times, reliability, poor and unprofessional driver experiences, unclear pricing, and arriving to destinations after expected arrival times. Your firm can use this information to recognize opportunities to enhance your business model to alleviate these pains, therefore driving customer satisfaction and increasing sales. RHS Advisors recommends 3 strategic initiatives to your firm to increase sales for low-usage users of ride-sharing. As we review the below, please keep in mind the goal is to increase low-usage users of ride-sharing while maintaining or even increasing high-usage users using ride-shares as well. Our first recommendation to increase sales among low-usage users of ride-sharing is to enhance partnerships and discounts. Demographics by age shows that the 16 to 24 age range are the heaviest users of ride-sharing services at 37%. However, this age demographic makes up the bottom 25% of income. With low income and need for transportation, our interviews show that students evaluate alternatives based on price. Students research best prices online and utilize promotion codes to get cheaper prices. However, one-time promo codes do not allow the demographic to utilize the service at all times and when they recognize the need of transportation. They utilize a non-compensatory decision rule of a high-standing attribute of price, which cannot make up for lower-standing attributes such as convenience and availability. Partnerships with universities provides the demographic a cheaper alternative, allowing ride-sharing services to capture the demographic during their information search. Our second recommendation to increase sales among low-usage users of ride-sharing is to create a rewards or incentive program. Research shows that ride-sharing services are utilized over 70% of the time in major U.S. cities, making it the most popular choice of transportation for business travelers. However, our interviews show that most business travelers do not utilize ride-sharing outside of business travel. Our interviews and research from business travelers show that frequent travelers expect some type of incentive or reward in order to continue using the service. For example, business travelers enjoy the perks of hotel and airline rewards, and they can use that at a later date. By offering a rewards incentive program, business travelers are more likely to utilize ride-sharing services outside of work. This would allow ride-sharing services to capture these customers in the need recognition stage, as they will most likely bypass information search and evaluation of alternatives if they already have an incentive to choose a ride-sharing service. Our third recommendation to increase sales among low-usage users for ride-sharing is to expand areas of the ride-sharing service. Ride-sharing services should expand their areas of service to capture sales from low-usage users. For example, although Uber drivers are allowed to drop off customers to the airport, only 145 out of 5,136 airports in the U.S. allow Uber to pick up customers from the airport. Expanding into new airports provides ride-sharing services access to new customers who would not typically use the service. These customers can be reached through the information search phase, with research showing convenience, price, and availability being the top 3 attributes related to ride-sharing. Expansion into airports could provide an increase in sales from low-usage users. As your firm looks to increase sales across low-usage users, it is imperative that high-usage users' sales are maintained. In order to do so, derived from our consumer interviews, review analysis, and industry performance analysis, we recommend that you focus on ensuring positive customer experience for rides, maintain cost advantages against alternatives, and increase ease of app usage. The customer's experience from their initial need recognition to ride search and booking to the actual trip and the interaction with the driver have proven to be important features to high usage users. According to ride-sharing consumer surveys, users expect companies to play a hands-on role in driver training and overall customer experience. About 33% of frequent users and 21% of occasional users believe driver training is the sole responsibility of the ride-sharing companies. High-usage users have shown that their frequency of use is somewhat based on the cost advantages compared to other alternatives. Alternatives include competitors in the industry, other forms of public transportation, and ultimately personal vehicle ownership. Cost advantages coupled with convenience over public transportation and vehicle ownership will help maintain these users. Some frequent users living in urban areas would forego purchasing personal vehicles and rely solely on ride-sharing services if it was cheaper. Your firm should work to innovate to provide new features while increasing the ease of use of applications. Frequent users have shown an appreciation for apps that are easy to access, navigate, and book. Providing new features that increase app speed, driver-customer communication, and include user personal preferences will help maintain your high-usage users.